All right, okay. Yeah, so my name is Vitaly. I work for Case, which is a very good test management system, and I'm proud of my product. I think during my last 20 years of IT, I wasn't more proud of the product I worked for. And we are doing quite a decent TMS, helping engineers and testers assure the quality and manage their testing efforts, and also showing the managers what they usually want to see. I came here because, well, first, I've never been here. I wanted to see the local community. I wanted to present a talk and maybe help someone if they find it interesting, and to talk to you all folks about your testing efforts and what you do at work. And I'm a big quality enthusiast. I believe that our world deserves products of better quality.
Thank you, Vitaly. So, Viviane?
Yeah, my name is Viviane Hennecke, and I'm with Accenture Quality Engineering for around 6 years now. I came to the conference because I also have a mission, and that is to spread more awareness for neurodivergence and neurodiversity, and also the value it has for people in IT jobs. Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you.
All right, good morning. My name is Martin, I work for Nortal. I have been on the field almost 18 years now, born and raised in Nortal, business-wise and professional-wise. Been on this conference since the second one. I just love the people, I love the chaps who do it. It's an awesome place to go once a year, see some familiar faces. And yeah, my everyday work, mainly manual testing, but as well I like to work with people and processes to help them improve and evolve inside the company. I think that's it for now.
Okay. Dawid, and challenge for you to pronounce my second name. I will answer it later. Yeah, I work for Hennecke. It's a product company providing scheduling tool for nurses. And before I was working for similar for doctors. And before I was doing similar thing for students. And before I was doing like cameras for cats and dogs. So I'm connected like with startups and product companies for almost whole career, actually. So I'm small and mid-sized companies representative. On a daily basis, I do engineering management. And what I'm really doing, I'm trying to find every second to write some code, but it's hard working in startups. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Dawid. And I'm Kaspar, your host today and yesterday.
But not tomorrow.
Hopefully not tomorrow.
And hopefully next year.
This panel is getting out of hand, don't you think? So, yes, so I'm also the co-founder of Nordic Testing Days, and for the past probably, let's say, 8 or 10 years or so, I've floated away from testing. So I'm more in the product management, and I'm one of those guys that Christian yesterday warned you about in the last keynote speech. But Nordic Testing Days is something that I still have close to my heart, and that's why I still show up every year. It's nice to see you here. Now, let's get to the questions. And the first question is not on the screen. So the first question is, what do you think has changed over the last year in testing? And what do you think will come in the year or years coming up? So whoever wants to go first. Vitaly?
Yeah. What I feel changed is that we get more hype as usual. Whenever a new technology comes up, be it radiation, like with radium powder. You know the story, like girls and women in 1930s were applying radium powder to their faces, thinking that that would make them more beautiful. And most of them died, unfortunately. I hope that with AI, with AI hype, we won't achieve such bad results. But the hype is here. It's similar to blockchain hype we saw before. It's similar to web bubble that we saw in 2001, I think. One was it, yeah. So I hope that with AI hype, we get something good rather than something bad, because there are multiple studies showing how it is applied to disinformation, deepfakes, and other things. And also with AI being used too much in testing and development, we can lose the knowledge, the institutional knowledge that we kind of have now. So yeah, I hope that this will change. I hope that companies will understand that quality is their competitive advantage and will not lay off QAs, as it happens sometimes now. And that managers will understand that assuring quality is not quality control where you just put something to testing after it's done. So I'm just hoping that the knowledge will spread on quality assurance, and this will change.
The ever optimist. Yeah.
It's both. It's pessimistic and optimistic at the same time.
Thanks, Vitaly.
I think, yeah, to add on this maybe, next to AI, not only in the last year, but also the years before, I think it changed back that the role became more diverse. And a tester is not only a tester who just does software testing, but more like a tester who is also doing test automation, is also doing some parts of test management, and so on and so forth. And we have also new roles that developed, like quality coaching, which goes directly in this direction, like having quality advocates in the teams which are spreading the knowledge about QA.
Good. Thank you. Martin.
I would like to carry on where Vitaly kind of wrapped his thought that the hype is there. It has been there more than just the past year. And the direction we are moving is that I'd rather see it in a way that it supports us and it is not replacing us, as both of my pre-speakers here mentioned. We need to find the good, the bad, the ugly, and then take the best out of it that we can to improve our everyday work experience. And via this, we hopefully can produce the best possible results for our customers and end users.
Okay. For me, the biggest change since last year is that everyone here has 1 more year of experience more. And everyone is 1 year older. That's the cons of that. But yeah, it might getting boring, like AI, surely. I don't think we had that revolution before. So we had DevOps, but DevOps was applicable mostly for software development and processes. AI is everywhere, so much outside. But there are many questions about AI, so I will stop with elaborating. But yeah, that was the major change, and everyone sees it, everyone talks about it. There are conferences about AI only. There is a conference about testing using AI only. So there is hype. There is hype for sure. But what changed, I think also, apart from AI, is we have kind of crisis, not the first and not the last one ever. And the companies can demand much more skills for the same position. That's probably like many of you face that companies can afford it. For the same money, I can have better specialists. Yeah, that's not optimistic, but that's realistic. So what I recommend always is just upskill. Like you must upskill. I mean, you can stay, but if you stay in IT, it's just you make a step back. So that's what is the future for me. We should be more careful about education. If you have 2 years, if you have 20 years, doesn't matter. You just need to, 2 years of experience, not 2 years old. So you just need to improve your skills, and that's the point. If you are getting bored with improving your skills, I like gardening, for example, so maybe that will be the future, but yeah, expanding skills, always new skills, getting familiar with AI, that's the biggest change for me, and that's the future.
So if we say that, okay, it's a hype. Hype usually means that the expectations are here, and the fulfillment of these expectations will definitely be much, much lower. So when do you think the bubble will burst?
I believe that it will burst when we run out of data to train AI, because this is the problem currently with AI. like why ChatGPT signed this contract with, not ChatGPT, Google signed the contract with Reddit to get more data. And everyone is looking for more data now, because in order to progress with what you generate, you have to submit 10 times more data, 50 times more data. And there was already a calculation done by some scientists that we have to, in order to get this improvement, we need to submit all the private messages that we have in all the messengers to training, and like all the libraries are already submitted. So private messaging, private photos, this stuff must go inside the training data. And have you seen the Adobe new license, where it says that everything now will be scanned by Adobe, everything you do in your Photoshop. So some companies are doing that. Some companies are getting more data. Similar thing Microsoft is doing with their new recall feature. They're saying everything will be on your computer, of course. Of course, I'm quite pessimistic about this promise. But yeah, more data is needed, and there is not enough good data. Because when you see Reddit being used for training, you suddenly see Google realizing, oh wow, we have some bad stuff in our output. And there is no way to fix that. They're fixing it manually now, which is ridiculous. And so either we come up with a better RAG, which is the post checks of what the LLMs produce, so that we can use bad data to feed to AI, or it won't progress well.
So what do you think can people actually right now take into their daily jobs, given the level of technology that is here already?
I'm not really sure. I mean, AI has limited applicability, because if you use it too much, you lose your knowledge. Because if you have to fact check what AI is doing, you have to be able to fact check it. You have to know where to fact check. Like in examples, when it offers you to glue tomatoes to the pizza, you obviously see that it is false, right? But when it offers you to add another Kafka instance, do you have enough knowledge to understand that it offers you something valuable or not? And if you rely on it too much, where will you get your knowledge, and where will be the incentive for you to get this knowledge from? So that's going to be interesting.
Other thoughts?
Maybe I will add here, in addition to this part of data, that as you mentioned, there is a lot of data there. Mm-hmm. Some of it has a great value to provide better AI or train better AI, but as well there is the bad data. And then you need something to filter out what is the data that you need and what is the data that provides value to train these AI models. So I think I had a chat yesterday regarding good and bad data that can be collected. And in some cases, even the good data is just somewhat like, it might be collected, but nothing is done with it. In sense of that it's collected, but it's not used to improve something. Either is it a product or a website or a mobile app, you name it. That kind of is slightly, I think, a problem. That we have the data, but we are not maybe too sure how to use it and how to get the best value out of it.
And the hype adds to this.
For sure.
The rush. You wanted to say?
Yeah, while I agree with the data topic overall, I don't agree that it's a hype, because the hype also means like it goes down, and I think it's here to stay, and it will develop further. That's also the trend we're seeing. You also mentioned it, the tools are implementing AI, and AI gets part of the tools, but it's to stay, and it's not like it's here a bit, and then we don't have to deal with it anymore. So I won't define it as a hype.
Time will show.
Time will show.
So yeah, Kaspar, you mentioned it's good if we have different opinions and we disagree. So here we are, and I have also different opinion. Like with AI, I don't think it will ever burst. It's like a part of our life already. We can either adjust or quit. Like I don't see another option. But actually, the important thing to know is AI is nothing new. So I was studying intelligent systems, and it was not last year. I was finishing my specialization like 15 years ago, and as an engineering physicist, I think it was like cracks in a wall detection, like automatic one. It was AI already, just the difference was I had no tooling to use, I had no prompts. I had to write my own neutral network model and then just use it. So it's not like new. The difference is 15 years ago it was more scientific, more university part, but it already existed. What we have now is everyone can use it. But in terms of usage, not a lot of changed. And in terms of data, like my perspective is not that positive because we have self-learning neural networks that exist for like 2025 already. And if at some point we have the good set of data, unfortunately AI can learn itself much better than we can learn. But is it bad, actually? I wouldn't say so. Just use it. Just don't be afraid of new technologies. There are a lot of tools that doesn't have a lot of level of entry, so you can start using it out of the box. And what I recommend also is to understand what's going on underneath. So it's like with networking. You open browser and you can just don't care what's going on. But if you know what's behind networking, what are the layers, that's much more helpful. And the same with AI. Underneath is always the same. There is neural network, there are some wages, there are some inputs, then processing, and you have output. And nice course I always recommend is CS50 by Harvard. They do a lot of nice, in general, computer science. They did a lot of good things, and it has fair price. It's for free. So CS50, definitely something to take into. They have good approach, is university approach from like good, good university, not like very scientific. So that's surely something you can check. Yeah.
That's a good one.
So skilling up is now in full course. So I'm moving on to look at the questions, and obviously the most popular one is I can answer it myself. I cannot answer the part who you are, but is the party over? No. It's still going on. But it looks like by the sound of it that a lot of people are, at least in the audience, they're afraid to lose their job. So what is besides upskilling, which was already mentioned, so how do you go about the likes of, or the likelihood of some like bigger companies are saying that, well, we don't need this role anymore because it's going to be replaced by either AI. I mean, a few years back, all the manual testing was going to be replaced by test automation. So are these managers who are making the stupid decisions, as we recall from yesterday, are they right or wrong?
I believe they are wrong, of course, because it's been long studied in management that losing people is the worst thing you can do to your company. But short-termism, this approach of managers achieving some good KPIs for themselves by means of firing people and doing other crazy stuff and then leaving the company in 2 years with a golden parachute, this approach of short-termism is not old, is not new at all. I mean, it was studied in 1950s and 1960s by Deming and Toyota, where he said that keeping your folks, keeping your engineers in the company, retaining them, is the most important concept most important thing you can do. So, do managers make stupid decisions? Well, they are not stupid to them, right? I mean, they get more money. Are they stupid from the standpoint of quality assurance? Yes, they are, of course, because when you lose knowledge by firing people, you lose knowledge. You lose quality, certainly. But what to do for the developers and QAs, I'm not sure. I mean, if we are just specialists who can be fired, we can't control it at all.
That was actually kind of, maybe we should steer the conversation to the part that I have noticed that in many companies, the proportion of people who are actually doing manual testing or who have a role which is called software tester, the proportion of those people has actually diminished.
Yeah.
So you have new roles like software engineering test, and the question is that, is the role changing like completely, or is it still the same job but with some extra tooling?
It's not, and it will never be stable. Like, change is a part of our life. And actually, what I mentioned, like, companies can afford to expect better skills from specialists. And better skill, in our case, very often means you need to understand the code. Because eventually we work in IT. So understanding a code, at least, is essential. And I would definitely go toward that direction. From a manager's perspective, it's also hard, because if we have crisis, and there was, you mentioned about firing. For a manager, it's never like easy. But you need to somehow keep the morale, keep the high-performing teams, and getting back to, like, a lot of questions are about what to learn. So we are in the unknown unknowns part of the square. So I would say, except for technical skills, except for learning how to use AI, there is the positive perspective, learning a lot about how to collaborate, but collaborate in a positive way, not like Second World War. So how to efficiently work. And I have a good story from like a few weeks ago, but quick one. So we've been to Rome, and early morning we went to the breakfast, and after like 15 minutes we got back, and there was a broken window. And except for broken window, there were no backpacks, no baggages. So we just stayed in like jeans, t-shirt, pants, and everything was gone. Like, super hard for the team, and it's easy to compare to firing inside the company. It's like we put into depression. We have this Kubler-Ross curve, so you just simply drop down. And then, like, we started doing shopping to have at least to wear something, and we went to the super safe place recommended by the company. We went for shopping. We got back to the car, and there was another breaking into the car.
Oh my God.
The same day, just the evening. And everything that we bought for the whole day was also gone. So Kubler-Ross model doesn't predict that if you are deep into depression, you get deeper into depression. But actually, the very positive, and from also team building and high-performing organization, the best thing is nobody got home. Like, immediate thinking is like, I don't give a fuck. I want my bed. I just want to cry. But of course, there was like a lot of emotions, but eventually the team was very well connected. Like, everyone has a lot of good bonds, because you could easily say, why didn't you park in different place? And this is the sentence to start the war. Like, this is the sentence you cannot get out of already. And the same for the company. If there are firing, if there is new technology, if there are changes especially, what you can do, and you can expect that from managers. That's my perspective. You should expect from good managers. They should build high-performing teams, and they should build connection, especially if that's remote. And it's hard, yeah, we know, but that's good skill to learn, how to communicate efficiently, and how to not over-interpret messages, but communicate based on facts. So fact-based communication also is super important.
Can I add something here? There is an interesting question: what part of the QA job will remain most unaffected by AI? This part, the social part. There is no way to assure quality if you can't talk to the clients. If you are just a ChatGPT, you can't approach clients. And as you've said, you can't build a good team if you're ChatGPT. So the social part of QA will not be affected at all. Well, at least for now.
What do others think? Viviane, Martin?
Yeah, I wanted to jump on the point that we need to upskill also the communication skills, because also this is precondition for prompting, actually. So if the machine doesn't understand what we want from it, it cannot give us the output that we need. And we see that when we do fine-tuning, and we tune and tune and tune, and it's still not what we wanted to hear. So I think this is a very important skill also as precondition for prompting.
Yeah, I think also from my perspective, one of the answers that you could give is that you can't take away the human factor.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that still the human eye or the human touch, or depending on what's your work like, is that the AI can't do. They can't give you feedback, like if you have an app in a mobile, like if you scroll it, is it like, does it look good for you? Do you feel like that it's a quality app and I would use it also tomorrow and the day after and the day after?
Yeah.
I think where this comes in effect especially is with immersive technology. So you can, if you get sick while you're in the immersive technology, this is something that we until now cannot simulate like that. And it's also very hard to automate. So we're even one step back when it's about immersive technology.
But when we are after automating things, we are essentially trying to reproduce what our clients would do, right? But if, as you say, if clients are fatigue, or if something wrong with them, there is no way we can reproduce it because the machine is different. So yeah, it's interesting.
I have a maybe interesting sidekick to the opinion that the social interaction part needs to be updated, because if we look at our lives compared to, let's say, 20, 30 years ago, my feeling is that people have chosen let's say, to live their life with less social interaction in many ways. Because if you look at the youth nowadays, then direct face-to-face interaction is definitely less popular than it used to be, as the saying goes, back in my day. And secondly, if you look at any business, let's take, for example, I'm in financial services in banking. Then 20, 30 years ago, it was standard that you have a bank branch office where you can go to and ask how much money you have on the balance. Like basically, if not around the corner, but within, say, 15-minute drive. Now you have banks which don't even have an office. You can't even call them up. Mm-hmm. And that actually means that there is less social interaction. And now when we look at the day-to-day life with remote work and everything around it, so how to survive in this environment when there is less social interaction, but you feel that this is exactly the skill we need to uplift.
You've mentioned you've spotted this very nicely. People are not really well trained by the society now, because we don't, as you said, we don't go to the bank. We have delivery of groceries to our homes. We have this and that. You can like stay at home and get everything done from home. So people are not trained in day-to-day life to be social. And so for the managers, that's one thing. Managers can help teams to get closer. Use ensemble programming, the mob programming. You call, you get everyone on the call and you do it together. You can gather people to off-site events as well. So there are multiple of options how managers can improve collaboration. But for engineers and QAs, it's just a matter of trying. So like if you see your colleagues struggling, well, call them. Do it on a Zoom call. It's gonna take 10 times less time if you solve some problem or do a code review or do something else on a call. I even see it in my teams, like people have a problem, Slack each other. Oh, we have some weird situation. Let's grab a call. They sit on a call and they fix it straight away. It is hard the first time you do it, yeah, because if you're not used to it. But then it's the skill which is needed now, I think.
Yeah. But the question would be, would it really be no social interaction just because it's via tools? So, for example, if we think of collaborative computer games, the people still have to talk to each other, they still have to somehow interact. It's just not that they're sitting in front of each other, but it's still some kind of social interaction. So I don't fully agree with the statement that the social interaction is really decreasing immensely.
But the lowering of birth rate kind of shows it.
But I think it's still like we were like making examples of like delivering groceries and then not having bank physical bank offices. I mean, there is this part that can be taken out of this social interaction, but there is still the part that needs to remain, like just exactly what Vitaly said, that let's, instead of like typing intensively 5 minutes, let's have a 2-minute call. That's what I'm doing, like pretty much daily basis. When I look at my call history in Teams, there are days when there is like, I don't know, at least 2 to 3 different calls to different people every hour, and so on. So we need this human interaction, but I think it's changing where we do it nowadays.
Yeah, for me, it's always I will start with the sentence, I didn't study IT to talk to people.
Well, you have to change.
And you have to change, that's for sure, but it's sad for many people, like they started IT. Yeah. But two things to add on top of that, what you just said. So the communication have one aspect that is very often just omitted, cultural differences. Mm-hmm. And that's extreme. So who have ever worked with Indians?
Yeah.
No one.
I did.
And without any problems?
No, without.
So actually, but there is positive thing. Like if you work with like Asian people from China, and then you have people from US, and you collapse them together, at least you are aware of there might be an issue. So that's good part, and a lot of companies train employees in communication, in good social part, but there is something we have very close, and very often we do not observe it. So I had half of the team in Spain and half of the team in Poland, Ukraine, and like Eastern countries. And the biggest problem from a managerial perspective was people from Poland saying, why the hell they are still talking? Why they are talking so much? Why they have so much energy? I need to be like more precise, more strict. And then on the other side, it was why they are always rude. Why they don't want to listen what happened with the context. They just want to know the fact. It's super close. We have the same time zone. It's super easy to build in a remote environment, but we are not fully aware of that. So that's something we should really take care of. Take care of. But in terms of communication, like 2 minutes call you mentioned, there is a nice framework for that. I use it's called user manual. So you can just put what are your values, but also how you like to be communicated. So there are people who expect responses almost immediately, and they write like, "Hey, I have a problem. I tried to enter something, and then it didn't work. And I feel like I need to be patient. There should be one message, like constant, but someone is like typing. But it's someone's style of writing. And having that personal manual and sharing it between like members inside the team, you understand that I prefer to be super focused, hyper-focused for 2 hours, and then I will respond you, versus person who expect responses immediately, or person who prefers to have quick call versus I prefer to write you a well-constructed message. Mm-hmm. So we should, and that's part of social interactions, we should exchange how you should, my user manual, how you should operate with me as a person, as a human being. And that's super simple and improve a lot inside the team.
Yeah, I kind of made the assumption when speaking of my experience that I have established with the people who I'm having these calls with that this is okay for them as well. It's not something that I pressure on them that, okay, I need to have a call with video and all the whole 9 yards. But this has been kind of silently agreed over the past year and a half that I have worked with this specific team at the moment.
I found a very interesting question in Slido. So what do you wish you had known about QA if you just started in it?
That QA is not QC, so that QA is far more than just testing. Because like 19 years ago when I was just starting, I had this mistake. I admit it. I hired QAs and told them, you are here to test things I build, and you shut up, you find bugs. And this was sad. This was sad. I was mistreating them. I didn't know about quality. I just read a few articles what QA is, and of course all of them were wrong. So it was sad. Yeah.
At least they were not produced by AI.
Yeah, I think
it doesn't matter who is producing the wrong stuff.
I started pretty much on the similar spot with you back in 2006. Like I was put to be sit on my chair. Here's your monitor. Here's your computer. I was thrown a few links. Install this. Configure this as with these parameters, and then start doing something. What I wish I'd had was a proper, like, I don't know, however you want to call it, a mentor, a tutor, someone who is actually like taking me in, because I had no bloody clue what this testing is when I started. I just knew that I can't be a programmer because I don't like to write code, and that's how I ended up there. And I am still here, and way happier than I was back in the days. So yeah, if you pull in new people, like really on the fresh page, then provide them this like comfort zone that they can come to you and ask the questions and try to be there for them to help them to improve.
For me, it's similar, like with you, the variety of the role, because when I started, I had 2 months upskilling in business analysis and testing, and I wanted to go into business analysis. And I had project opportunities in business analysis and testing, but I couldn't really decide. Then the decision was taken for me, and I landed in testing. And that's why I'm here today also. So if I would have just gone with what I knew back then, and not had someone who nudged me in the right direction, I wouldn't have gone into testing and had the new roles, like was a test coach and a quality coach, and it was not just testing software, but furthermore into the whole quality engineering. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Dawid?
Yeah, so I will maybe slightly rephrase the question, because for what I wish I known starting, it sounds a little bit like dinosaur stories. And I don't know if that's really helpful, but rephrasing it to what I wish I know starting now or in recent years, I would say awareness of how much learning there is on the way and how much the role is changing, and you cannot just read the role description and 5 years later there will be the same. Like, that's not possible. It's changing a lot. And the second thing I would recommend, and you mentioned that, is to find a good mentor. Because from courses, from workshops, from trainings, you have very narrow piece of knowledge. And it's good, it's really good, but on the later stage. If you want to find a path, like mentoring is really nice. I participate in like a non-profit mentoring program for like 5-6 years already. Every year is like, it's for women. Let's not jump into this. If programs for women are fine, I think they are awesome and we should have them. But the good thing is people are super excited. Like, people want to learn, that's good part. And on the other hand, from like mentor perspective, you can show the direction. You have experience, so it's not like reading book only or participating trainings, but you can observe, you can tell, this is probably not the best, this is wrong idea, maybe we can redirect you here. But that's for me like mentoring part, not coaching, not training, but someone who can be a mentor.
I would fully agree with this. This thing, like I was mentoring engineering managers for my whole life, and seeing them excel and succeed is one of the best pleasures I've ever had. But for them, like when they say, all right, I see that with your help I can achieve something in 2 years, I wouldn't even know how to achieve it without the help. So yeah, finding some, and there are so many people who are willing to help. This is really cool in our community, that there are mentors free. You said you were participating in a free mentorship program.
Yes.
Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, there are free mentors, there are paid mentors, there are multiple ways to find help. This is cool.
And it's super educational for mentors. So if you have experience, like I think you have a lot of experience, many of you. So you can be a mentor for sure for someone, and that's super educatory for you as well. That's really good path to extend your knowledge. And then we have social part, because you need to talk to person. You need to draw a direction. So we are still in the circle, and it's a really good mechanism to draw.
I would like to add that from the pedagogical or andragogical standpoint, it's best to learn something by teaching it. So if you are to explain one simple concept to 5 different people, their diversity will be so big that you will have to reformulate it 5 times in completely different ways, and you will understand the concept much, much better than you think you understand it now.
And still, even if you are experienced and are a mentor already, you can still or should still also have a mentor for yourself. And mentoring is also a 2-sided way, so you also learn from your mentee. I also had the luck that I always had a mentor, and I'm also a mentor now, and I still have my mentors. So yeah, I think
Super
it's
cool.
pretty good.
Very good. Now everybody got the task for the coffee break. We're still 10 minutes away from it, but find a mentor. Yeah. So
you can bring a coffee to a mentor is good start of your cooperation.
it works.
But tell the people which kind of coffee you prefer.
So another question for you. So from your experience, what are your pain points in software quality and testing? I'll leave you now the last. I'll give Martin a chance.
If I look back at the last, let's say, year and a half, maybe slightly more, is that getting good and high quality user feedback, the actual end user feedback to our product that is in production. That is something that, well, the project is running in a different country, and then we have the delivery team also in different countries, and just getting through to the customer or the actual end user is like really hard. We get some bits and pieces, the quality is like really bad. It's in a style that shit doesn't work. What shit? What doesn't work? So it starts this ping pong that takes really, really long time to get the idea what is actually bothering the customer, and then from that point on, start moving to the place where you can actually improve the user experience.
High quality end user feedback.
Yep.
That's your pain point.
That's hard at the moment, yeah.
Agreed. I have a ton of things on my mind, to be honest, because just in a project a few weeks back, and within 2 weeks I had 50 problems thesis, what went wrong with the testing. But the main point I want to highlight is that there's often still the problem that the awareness for quality is not really there. And this is the basis for everything, so that we get budget to fix some of the problems. It's the basis that we have built-in quality, that we can have responsibility for the quality within the whole team and stuff like that. So this is still the biggest pain point for me.
May I add here? Oh, you want to proceed?
You can go
Okay.
first.
What I would add, I would totally second that. What I would add that it's not only the lack of knowledge about the quality from management sometimes, but it's also like an ill-formed belief. It's not even a lack of knowledge, seriously. Like you show the data that assuring quality from the start is cheaper. But the manager says, yeah, but let's just test later. And it's almost like a belief that you have to, I'm not sure how to change it, like impossible sometimes. And I've struggled with that so many times in my consultancy that I just figure out it is a belief. And I need to provide a new belief for them somehow, not sure how. So this is my pain point.
Okay, my biggest pain point is stupid decisions on a high level. But the problem is that with some of them, the only thing you can do is to accept. Like eventually we, in many cases, go to work just to do nice things and earn money. I mean, in most cases. But I like the first question that is on the screen. I don't know if that's the same here also. Because, that's the first one about Netflix, Google, and so on. And I like it because that's what I've been doing for a long time as a manager. And it's nice. Like you said, this is nice pattern. This is nice model. You have a Netflix model, just introduce it. Why it's good? I take off responsibility from myself. and whoever introduces it and it will fuck up, like, why you did it wrong? I just send you a good pattern. But the problem is, if you try to scale the solution from the successful stories, we have like 99% it will fail. You can scale some practices, but not the whole process. And the funny thing is, Netflix nowadays is not really doing guilds in a form they sell it. Google, Meta, no testers. Actually, just different naming. I have a lot of friends, actually, especially from Ukraine nowadays, working as a software developer, just software developer, and they are writing tests only. And my favorite example is Atlassian, which sells a lot of nice frameworks like quality assistance, for example. You can read about it. It's like you don't have QAs, you have like consultants, internal consultants. It's called quality assistance. The best thing is they sold it as a good concept, and a year later they rejected of having it internally, but they never told it officially that they rejected it because it didn't work. And for me, that's the answer. Most of the stories are not really true. So you have nice article, you have good content, but underneath there is always something wrong. So the real story, especially if you know someone from the company, like some internals, I think that person can tell you the real truth, that it looks good as a marketing, but eventually what's going on the process, operational level, it's not that good.
Okay. I would like to add something here, that processes do not, it is not code which can be copied, which you said. Processes depend on the culture, and culture depends on the managers and people there. So you can have, like, why Ford fled Japan? Because he couldn't compete in Japan. He tried copying everything from Toyota, every single quality assurance process. He failed. His culture was different. Even the concept was really good. We're not talking about the quality of the concept, but he couldn't just apply it. So yeah, if you read an article about how things are organized somewhere, first what you said, talk to the people from there. Because if the people are similar to your company, maybe the process will work, just maybe, if it does work for them.
And we are back to social part.
Yes.
It's good to know people.
Yeah, exactly.
So, final question, and this is more about the future. So I see a couple of questions here about, how do you inspire the young generation to choose a career in software testing? And the new generation is now entering workforce. So if you look around here, it's relatively experienced people, yeah, actually, on average. So the question is, how do we bring the new people into the field? What do we do different?
I think one point that is very important is about the working culture, because there we see that the new generation has different expectations, so much more flexible models in terms of everything, I would even say, like working times, vacation times, and what worked maybe for millennials, that you say, oh, we also offer like bananas every day and you can have coffee as much as you want. That is not working anymore. They don't like this approach. Also, remote working is a very important requirement for a lot in the new generation. So I think employer need to listen much more to the individual needs of the people and see how this can all fit together in the end with the business value they want to achieve.
I completely agree that we have no silver bullet here at the moment, I think. We need to take it up case by case, find the best possible path and collaboration between the new hopefully new starting employee and the company culture. And once again, we get back to the part that I had somewhere in the middle of this panel, that we still need to consider the human factor.
Yeah, so I'm the last probably.
No. Well,
Oh, okay. So you want to go first?
No, go.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. So for me, it's like the most shocking thing was that I realized half of my team was born in 21st century. And it's like, man, what happened? What happened? And then you realize they have just different values. That's the most important. They have different values. Like, it's good to understand work-life balance. That's one of the key points for Gen Z. So you cannot really change their values, and you shouldn't. You can just accept, understand, and try to collaborate better. But I suppose we had the same. Everyone had the same entering, like at a young age. What I'm doing and trying to understand, I'm watching a lot of Twitch. I'm following Discord channels. Not really Reddit. Reddit is for all 30-plus people. So it's not yet. But honestly, the most important is to understand people's value. Then it opens a lot in terms of communication. And whenever they started, you can support them much better. And mentoring, like mentoring young people, that's the best way to see how they behave in the current market, because values are very different. And we can be like, boomers complaining, they don't want to work 8 hours a day and then back home. What about education after hours? So that's one part. And another is, let's understand them and let's respect their values. But we need to be aware of that. Awareness, I think that's the key here.
I would fully agree with that. I would only add that I think when I was starting 23 years ago, I would love the same conditions that most companies provide to junior developers now. I think that we had similar values, but maybe we grew to accept that companies would not offer us. And my first job, I had a terrible boss. And I still work there. It's good that young people can now choose. And if we understand the values of young people, we can bring more of them, and we can manage to keep our teams stable so that new people come and join our companies. And I don't think it's hard. I honestly don't think it's hard. I think that being a normal, decent human being to them and helping them with the processes and with the way how they work, and not just being a jerk, is good enough. And also, I've seen so many so-called middle developers with 3 or 5 years of experience who have almost PTSD from previous companies, like who were hired as junior developers and almost abused, like, work crazy hours, you're nothing, you're just an expense to us, you're a resource to us, etc. And it's sad to see. So if you are a better boss, well, people will come and join your company and work for you.
So if you ever get the chance to be a manager, then just don't be a jerk.
Yeah.
Thank you for a very insightful panel.
Thank you.
And,
it was a pleasure.
Thank you.